Hello and welcome back to another episode of Boys Gone Wild. We have decided to put the intro music back in. Huge floods of protests came out last episode when I decided to take out the intro music. It felt very much like, do you remember when in Glasgow when they were trying to take that refugee away and everyone on that street in Glasgow bandied around the police car until he was eventually freed?
I don't actually remember that, but
sort of a moment of like,
I
isn't it
appreciate
amazing
that it was similar.
Yeah, and I think it was very similar to that, as in I was the policeman trying to take the refugee away.
Yeah.
But
you often are the policeman
I am
trying to take the refugee
I was trying
away.
to ruin the fun. I was like, look, we've had enough of this.
Yeah.
This old hat.
What was people's soundtrack to the weekend?
It's that Friday feeling.
It's that Friday feeling. TFF? That Friday. TFF.
That Friday feeling, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that gets referenced non-ironically at work on a regular basis.
You get that Friday feeling.
I do actually get that Friday feeling. The problem is I, more than most, get the Friday feeling.
Yeah.
Because I don't like my job.
Yes.
But I don't feel the need to post about it in a GIF format.
Yeah. You should do
Would you post? What would you be like in an office? I know you've had it for like a bit, but
I would be avoidant. I think I'd be quite like uncomfortable around most people. I just trying to avoid spending as much time as possible with people. I would do very little work.
yeah.
I'd be incredibly anxious about being caught out for how little work I'm doing.
Right.
I think.
So you'd be me.
Yes.
Good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, have you tried to get that Monday feeling trending on your work?
What, depressed and sad about where you are with your life?
TMF.
TMF.
That Monday
Just
feeling.
crying into your tea, really, is what that Monday feeling is. It is, well, I guess we're going to go for this take now, but Mondays are really bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I grew up, it's when I was growing up, you'd always
When
hear...
I grew up.
When I grew up downtown and the way I go.
Oh, I thought it was...
When I grew up, and I know I'm going to be, I'm going to be older than
it's
was
Monday.
before. Both are good.
Yeah.
That it was, when people, it was a, what do you call it? A cliche to say how bad Mondays are. There's that cat that hates Mondays, that's like on mugs and stuff.
What?
Cat that I hate Mondays.
Is that I hate Mondays cat?
That was like our parents would have been making that joke. Like, I hate Mondays. It was
Well,
around everywhere.
I did remember seeing a job site called lovemondays.com, which I'm like, all right, that's a good...
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen
sold.
a few of those, yeah. They've
Sold.
got a new
Then
advert.
they got a picture of a guy who's a scaffolder on the front.
Well, maybe he really loves scaffolding.
Probably does. I just don't know. What job would you choose for lovemondays.com?
Scaffolding.
Scaffolder.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, you just want it to be as vague as possible, don't you?
I guess so. What, just like a...
But you don't really want to. What would? Because you don't want it to be just a desk job. You don't want it to be sitting at a desk.
But then that's
smiling.
probably your
That's
job.
probably what it would be.
It's
It'll be
probably
like
all recruitment jobs.
it'll be like marketing or something. There'll be
But I'd have... Yeah.
pointing at a spreadsheet, being like
Yeah. Yeah, you
getting
can't
really excited at a pie chart. Whereas scaffolding.
But I see that on the tube, and what you're trying to appeal to people depressed going into work. That's what Love Mondays is.
Yeah.
On a Monday, you want them to be like, God, I fucking hate Monday. Love Mondays, but then the people who'd be aimed at on the tube would normally be people who work in the city.
Well, exactly.
People who have suits on.
And
I feel if they
think-
see the scaffolder, they're not going to be like,
that's
fuck.
probably not the site for me.
No.
But you'd also think there isn't particularly high barriers to entry for scaffolding.
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to be a scaffolder,
Yes.
whoa, scaffolderer,
A scaffolderer.
scaffolderer,
A scaffolderer.
a scaffolderer. Apologies,
Yeah,
yeah. Scaffolderer,
A person of
a
scaffold.
scaffolderer.
Yeah.
A scaffolderer, yeah.
Scaffolderer.
Scaffolderer makes the sound, yeah, French. But
It sounds like you're to do with the dining experience.
and what do you do?
You got a sommelier. You got a scaffolderer.
Who's in charge of like sauce?
Folding
Well,
napkins.
yeah. Scaffolderer. But you wouldn't. There's not particularly high barriers to entry. So you'd think if you were someone whose Mondays would be made better if you became a scaffolderer.
Scaffolderer.
Why wouldn't you then just become a scaffolderer? Do you need the I Hate Mondays website to become a scaffolderer?
It's not called...
I don't think you do.
It's called lovemondays.com.
What did I say?
I hate Mondays.
Yeah, the opposite of that. That's a terrible name for a job. For a job website. You want to hate Mondays? Sign up with us.
I'd probably instead of a scaffolderer, I'd probably have like a hog wrangler or something like that.
Right.
Someone wrangling
Niche
hogs.
enough.
Do you
To
know
be
what I
honest,
mean?
I'd need your website to become a hog wrangler.
Do you know
There's
what I
not.
mean?
Yeah.
you're depressed, you're working in marketing, you're working in recruitment, and then you see someone wrangling hogs having the time of their life.
That could be me.
That could be me, yeah.
And that's a niche enough job where you're like, how does one get into hog wrangling?
They go on lovemondays.com.
They go on lovemondays.com.
And you're like, I reckon hog wranglers do
I've never really given hog wrangling a thought, but now that you mention it, I can really see myself as a hog wrangler. Like warthogs. What is a hog? That's actually something.
I think you could count that as a pig, right?
Yeah.
Or is it a wild pig?
Well, isn't a pig a type?
I think it's a wild pig.
Is a pig a type of hog?
I think so.
Yeah,
Part
I
of
think
the
so
hog
too.
family.
There's the warthog.
Yeah. Warthog.
There's the. I would maybe even.
Warthogs
I think
are very...
a boar would come under a hog.
I think you're a boar.
I think you're a hog.
Fair play. We'll leave that as one.
There it is. It's equal. We'll see what happens to the rest of the episode.
Warthogs are nifty little fellas because I think the Lion King.
Yeah, slimy little bastards.
Well, the Lion King has definitely created the wrong perception of warthogs,
right?
As these quite joyous, jovial figures.
Yeah.
And when you see a warthog, they naturally have their tails wag.
Right, like a dog.
Yeah, because I think they're batting flies off their arse.
Right, not like a dog.
So it's not like a dog. It's not about excitement.
Yeah.
So they look like
it's not a show of emotion. It's trying to keep insects away from their bottom.
So they look really quite cute and happy, but if they're constantly, if they see you, they're trying to kill you.
Well, they're the snorty fuckers, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're feisty little fuckers. They're trying to hurt you. So I've seen a lot of videos of people who have been, wrangled by a hog.
What? Because people
like,
think, it's
and
Timon.
Like,
is it Timon or Pumbaa? Timon or Pumbaa? I reckon
I'm going to say Pumbaa. He looks like
Pumbaa
Pumbaa.
is like Timon's a slim name. Pumbaa is, it's basically Bumba, or Bunda.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that kind of goes into the whole giraffe argument in some ways in a different way.
The giraffe thesis.
The giraffe thesis, apologies. It has evolved far more than an argument. But are people going up to them based on their perception of warthogs from The Lion King and going, this guy's cool, or I can be friendly because of the tail?
I think that combined with the wagging tail is sucking people
Deserve
in.
What they get.
Because they look like a excitable little dog when they're nasty little fuckers. Stinky as well. Stinky warthogs.
Yeah.
I saw warthogs in South Africa and the guy running it, he couldn't say warthog, he'd say warthog. So it's like,
say in a sentence.
Warthog.
Do in a sentence.
We're going to see some warthogs.
Do the whole thing in the South African, because you can't.
Warthog. No, he wasn't. He was Botswanan.
Right.
So I don't want to do any.
Don't want to do that. Fair
but
enough.
warthog is that's what I think of every time I see a warthog.
I don't think
warthog.
I don't think I've ever seen warthogs. They're hairy, aren't they? Deceptively so.
It looks like a barren desert with a bit of with all the cracks in the ground, but you've got like weeds poking up. That was a bad description. It looks like it's thin hair
it's got a
all
bit of
over,
hair. Yeah,
but it's
wiry.
Like
your legs.
You could like my legs, but it's like a dry.
But your legs are more like
skin.
an actual dense forest of yours.
There's a fluff quality.
Your
to
legs are like a forest after a forest fire. But the leaves, if the trees maintained through the forest fire, but they were just burnt a little bit. It was like crisp and kind of wilted.
Yeah, and your legs.
They've died,
Yeah.
Go on. What are my legs like?
Your legs are.
There is some hair on them, so
Those look like that. Looks a bit like a warthog. That's that sort of. It's about
that level of
distribution of hair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yesterday we had a new submission to shit tweets by Horatio. I think, or Horatio shits tweets, which is a segment we very rarely do.
Because how often?
I don't tweet very regularly. I mean, I post. The funny thing is that now because we're.
Are there any tweets that you've done that we haven't caught up with?
I think there must.
Because that's worth it.
Yeah. So as we know, I'm probably the least funny medium on social media for me is Twitter,
which is saying something.
And because the sketches are now doing quite well on Twitter, there's actually I'm actually getting followers.
How many followers are you on?
Now on 8,000.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. So it means that a lot of people. Yeah. So the last shit tweet I did was I've informed the BBC that I also won't be appearing on Match of the Day.
Funny.
Right. That's fine. The problem is that I saw 6 other comedians do the exact same joke. So
yeah. Okay.
I was like, finally, I haven't done a shit tweet. And I was like, oh, it's the most obvious.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like the first thing you grab off the shelf.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yesterday when we were doing some golf content, which we'll get into later, this is the tweet. Big Bunda no friends to the tune of No Women No Cry? ? I feel I regret.
That was us quite drunk in the taxi
Yes.
back as well.
Yeah, and I in retrospect, I regret adding the question mark. I feel it would have been more wry and twittery if it was just Big Bunda no friends to the tune of No Woman No Cry.
You don't want to give the Twitter audience an inch because they'll run a mile.
Yeah, because I've left it open.
You've
for
left
them
doubt. You've introduced doubt into the idea,
into the process.
and in reality, there should be no doubt about it.
No, that should be that should be the funniest thing since it's New Year's Eve, not New Year's Steve.
Did that do it?
It didn't do numbers
Because we fucked it up.
we fucked it. Yeah, but even with the reconstruction,
I feel like 50% of your tweets are when we're together and drunk, and then we kind of egg each other on, and then always something goes wrong.
Nothing goes well.
You'd think it should. We do a fair amount of writing, comedy-wise. You'd think we should be able to write a tweet.
No,
not at all.
I mean, it's a weird thing with those tweets because it's like one of the only things I do online, which I'm kind of hoping it does as badly as possible.
Because then it's a segment. Yeah, it's funny.
It's just there's something really funny about just having never tweeting and then
doing well on most other things
and nothing, just getting nothing.
but no, sing it.
Big Bunda, no friends. Yeah, Big Bunda, no friends. Dun dun dun. Big Bunda, no friends. Dun dun dun. Big Bunda, no friends. And I think that came from actually the original, which is when I was going, Big Bunda, no friends. Big Bunda, no friends. Big Bunda, no friends. Big Bunda, no friends. And that was more of like a kind of, I was a bit more like a,
so when
was that like a
happen?
garage? It's not a garage MC. It's like a, what would you describe that?
I don't know, it depends on the beat behind
Big
it.
Bunda, no friends.
It's almost electro-y.
Yeah, well, it's just like Big Bunda, no friends.
Yeah,
it's like I'd have
it's
a
bit like
Cyrus
DJ
Cat.
Dion.
Big Bunda, no friends. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of like
it's
that.
kind of
So
housey electro.
It's got like a acid rap maybe.
Yeah, it's not far off garage.
Yeah.
Could be a garage tune with the right mixing.
But why I like the refrain Big Bunda, no friends is, well, whatever way you sing it, it carries different meanings. Because Big Bunda, no friends. Big Bunda, no friends. That has like a lot of confidence behind it and braggadociousness.
Yeah.
It's like I've got
the question is the narrator happy with the size of his bunda or not?
Yeah. And
that's the first question I think.
Because no Bunda, no friends is just a sad statement.
That's a tragedy.
Big Bunda, lots of friends is...
There's layers.
There's layers. But then Big Bunda, no friends, it's got a sweet melancholy built into it. And it's four words and you don't know what you're meant to feel at the end of it.
You really don't.
Yeah.
There's a question of causality. Is the reason he has no friends the Big Bunda?
And it is a guy.
Or are they entirely unrelated?
If it's a woman, it's not as funny.
Not as funny.
It's a fella singing it.
The Big Bunda, it needs to be a bit up in the air as to whether the Big Bunda's a good thing or not.
Because
That's
we don't know.
key. Because if it's a girl, then it's like, oh, I haven't got any friends.
Big
Well, at least
Bunda,
I've
no
got,
friends.
I haven't got any friends. Well, at least I've got a Big Bunda.
Yeah.
For the guy, it's like, how do you feel about the Big Bunda?
Do we want a Big Bunda?
Are we happy with that?
Do you not have any friends because of how big your Bunda is?
Well, that was the question I just posed. That's the causality thing. Does it exist?
Or do you have a big Bunda which would normally garner you friends, but in spite of your big Bunda, you still have no friends? Meaning that there's clearly
you're gonna have to run
there's
that
clearly
again for me.
structural issues going on. Well, maybe Big Bunda. He's talking about like even though I've got a big Bunda, which you'd think would get me friends, I still have no friends.
So maybe he worked
So in
really
spite
hard.
of my big
he
Bunda,
worked really
I
hard for the
still have
Big
no
Bunda.
friends.
Yeah. He worked really hard for the Big Bunda, expecting to come out of the gym one day and suddenly have a group of friends.
Yeah, because Big Bunda, no friends.
wasn't.
That's got
Well, I think that's more a powerful song.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
kind of like, I don't need friends. I've got a Big Bunda.
Yeah.
Whereas this one
Big
is far more
Bunda, no friends.
especially because of the Big Bunda, no friends. And it kind of pedals the line between sad and hopeful.
Yeah.
Or kind of almost a bit. It could be, you can sing it in a content way.
Yeah.
Or you can sing it in a really melancholic way.
Can we hear the content?
Well, it's the same song.
Yeah.
It's more about your face. Because
Yeah.
it's like, Big Bunda, no the content.
friends. Yeah. Da, da, da.
Big Bunda, no friends.
And then melancholy.
Big Bunda, no friends.
Da, da, da.
Big Bunda, no friends.
So
it works both ways.
And that's why I think, I often find, because I had the same thing where it's just...
Were you putting your all into that
Yeah, it
performance?
was, yeah.
Because I didn't look at you once. Which is
You got lost.
I was in it, yeah.
once again, it's a tweet which I feel we have to explain. I think a lot of people now will go like, "Oh, I think that's funny." It's like, where were you?
Where were you? Where were you yesterday?
Exactly.
How many likes has it got?
I think it's on 10 likes.
Well,
and now what's funnier about having more followers on Twitter is getting more and more views, and the likes aren't changing, which is quite funny.
You 10 is good for you, isn't it? You were happy.
Yeah, I know. But
surely you're happy to get into double digits.
But when we last did this, I think I was on 4,000 followers.
I've
almost doubled the amount of followers.
Can you just remind everyone what your what the tweet was we did live on air? Who was it with? Was it with Jacob?
Oh my god! I didn't do it live on air. We were just talking about it afterwards.
Oh, God, can we just read it one more time? It's
okay, I had to go find it. So right now, Big Bunda No French, the tune of No Will No Cry, 2,500 views, 10 likes, which ratio wise,
it's not good at all.
It's not good, right? It's
the
way.
The thing
bad.
is, with likes,
yeah,
I never like unless it's like my friend's stuff, and often it's like now I'll like when someone. Like particularly like when like comedians put something out, then I'll give it a like. I'll like some of my friends' stuff. I'm never liking someone I don't know's thing on the internet. It astonishes me that like so many people actually like things.
I don't know, man. I think.
Do you like things?
I do like things.
I should do it. I'm not saying I'm right.
You can't expect people to like your shit.
I know.
And then not like other people's.
I completely agree.
I give people a like when I'm like, you deserve it. It feels like you're chucking a copper.
Yeah, at a street performer.
Yeah, exactly. And
making the robot move.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you've earned this, lad.
That's true.
But it costs nothing. It costs nothing.
It costs absolutely nothing. You are right. I need to get into it more. But like when people like a Beyonce Instagram post.
All right, okay. So this is shouldn't every pan be non-stick was one of them. That was one of my better ones.
Shouldn't every pan be non-stick? No, they shouldn't. That's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah, because sometimes you want to char stuff.
How often are you charring?
Quite a lot.
Really?
A lot of recipes will say like use what do they call them?
Wow, good. Well, that's fair enough.
What do they
it's
call
good
them?
Good to learn that, actually.
Yeah. Non-stick isn't... A lot of chefs will say don't use non-stick.
Ever?
Yeah, because you want to like char... Like if you're cooking like chicken breast, for instance, you want a bit of charring on it.
I see. And so it kind of stops it getting...
Yeah, they'll say use a cast iron pan.
Oh, I see.
Those non-stick are not the best pans by far if you want to have really good food.
Fair enough. Well, I've learned that then.
Yeah.
So this is the tweet. 18 likes, but I think that was a lot because we spent about half an hour talking about it.
So I think people went to it from the podcast. I think it's my all-time favourite tweet from my recollection of it.
Saint Peter. So it's a script. It's a script.
Yeah. Which immediately bumps it up to so much more sincere. Like if you've taken the time to write out a script.
Saint Peter, you've lived a complicated life. Any regrets? Me. None. Saint Peter, not even alienating yourself from your children after the divorce? Me. That's life. Saint Peter, what about the 10 hours of Dusan Vlahovic highlights you watched in January 2022? Me. Oh God, why? Hashtag Arsenal. Yeah.
Right, the hashtag Arsenal... I suppose, like, I only
That's
know...
before I
because he's an ex-Arsenal player, I
yeah,
presume.
no, he was... we were looking to sign him in the...
so he's never played for Arsenal?
Yeah, and
even better. that tweet is aged like a fine wine, because everyone is now going... He's never played. Why? Because the best thing about that tweet is, like, why is he hashtag Arsenal?
Yeah.
It makes it even more confusing.
But I also learned that there's Twitter probably has the highest cringe factor of any social media, so you've got to be most careful. And apparently, it's very uncouth to hashtag anything in your tweets. So
why?
It's now just not. It's not cool. It's not good.
So hashtagging is lame as fuck.
Well, you need to do it with reels and stuff.
Yeah, but when
tweets, it's a big no.
When people post just like selfies or photo dumps or whatever, and they're hashtagging, why are you doing that? Like, there's no commercial gain to what you're...
Yeah, I guess
personal posting.
Yeah, when people have personal posting, I've never understood it. It's like, what are you trying to...
I've seen people do it with like 20 hashtags.
What's the
hashtag
career goal
photography,
here?
hashtag women, hashtag girl,
Yeah.
Hashtag mid-Sussex.
What are you hoping? What are you hoping people to
Do you
find
think you're
on
going to
the hashtag?
blow up?
You think it's going
The
to
picture of your dog on the weekend's going to blow up and break the internet.
Do you think you're going to become a niche celebrity amongst dog lovers and
On
weekend
the
lovers?
hashtag dogs of Instagram
Yeah.
page or dog owners of Instagram.
Well, I guess, you put that energy out into the world and something might come back. You might not even know what you want for it to come back. But
What do you think it could come back?
Well, I mean, someone could find you via hashtag dogs of Instagram and be like, I was doing my morning scroll through hashtag dogs of Instagram.
Yeah,
And
a
I
piece of
found
toast and
your
a coffee.
unbelievable profile. Do you want to connect? Be friends?
Right, do you think so? Friendship could
Yeah.
be one of them. Yeah, friendship.
And then they have consensual butt sex.
Consensual butt sex. I'm not sure the people that are posting hashtag dogs of Instagram have ever had anal sex.
Well, in this, I think maybe, I don't know. But maybe that's why the hashtagging has opened up a new world for them.
Right.
And opened up their bum
Oh, yeah. Okay.
to have consensual butt
So do
sex.
what you really think the hashtag dogs of Instagram feed is
Yeah.
different sexually repressed people looking for anal sex?
Consensual butt fucking.
Consensual butt fucking, I'm all about. You can't poo-poo
You
consensual
don't
butt
use
fucking.
that term. Christ.
Well, that was kind of part of the fun, wasn't it? You can't poo-poo consensual butt fucking.
Yeah, we'll tweet it.
I don't think I have Twitter.
Do you not? You
Oh
gotta
no, I
get on
do
there.
actually. I do have it, just think for like emergencies. You know
Didn't
what
you?
I mean?
Didn't you had a shit tweet
I did a tweet at one point. I think.
that you were very proud of?
What was
Was
it?
it something about football again?
Football. I think I made
You
a new
and Paul
account.
did one, didn't you?
Oh, me and Paul did do one on his account.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, I'll probably be able to find it. It was something to do. You know what?
We'll do it with the Patreon.
We'll do it on the Patreon. No, I could. What was the tweet? You can't poo-poo a consensual butt fuck.
But you're gonna do it now?
How many followers have I got? 0, because I don't follow. I follow one person, which is Elon Musk,
Nice.
and I've got 0 followers.
Get it out there.
How should I get it out there?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do it there? The plus sign.
You can't poo.
Maybe later. It's telling me how to tweet because I've never done it before. You can't poo hyphen between the two poos. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't poo. You can't poo a consensual butt fucking.
Is it fucking or fuck?
Consensual. But I think you can't poo a consensual butt fucking. And there's going to be a hyphen between butt and fucking as well.
Yes.
2
I don't
hyphens
know
is
if you
funny.
need that. Okay, fine.
You can't poo a consensual butt fucking.
Okay, well, what you have to do is you have to screenshot that.
I put it on my Instagram. Fuck off.
You can't poo a consensual.
Consensual butt fucking. God, the more we say it, the more I do secretly love it.
Yeah, but then this
can't
is what
poo-poo a
happens, is that we do these tweets and we're like, this is the funniest thing ever. But someone reading it doesn't read it in the voice or the rhythm that we think is hilarious.
You can't poo a consensual butt fucking. That's still funny.
It's still good.
That's still funny.
It's bulletproof.
You can't poo a consensual butt fucking. Still funny.
Still, yeah.
They are bulletproof, but that's what we think. As soon as we release them into the wild, they're riddled with bullets and damage.
Yeah. Yesterday we did some golf content.
We did do some golf content.
Quite progressively weird and
For our
lives.
sins.
Yeah. Where we did some branded content for which
Can we say who? I think.
I
Yeah.
think so. It's branded.
Let's
for
just
them.
not
Yeah.
say it. Well, that is good for them actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
So why not?
we went to Top Golf in Watford and did a day of mini golfing against each other.
Yes.
They gave us free food and drink, and it was one of those days which is like this is like stealing candy from a baby.
A freebie.
Yeah. And yes, I think they said like, oh, we got a tab. If you want to get like lunch and and coffees or anything.
And they were very nice about it.
Very nice about it, and then we pushed it to the limit. 'Cause
Entirely
we ended
exploiting it.
Yeah, we ended up having about between 8 and 10 pints at the place.
Minimum.
Yeah, and
I think I had 5 pints there.
and we'd finished the content maybe 2 hours ago, and we're just stuck around.
Just playing golf.
I'm sure they could have easily have wanted us to
leave.
maybe get out, but we're like, no, we're going to stay on have a free driving range session.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unlimited balls.
really,
I've got a really bad blister from the amount of balls we hit. We just kept going.
it's still quite rare that we
We're
get
trying to get the pro up to give us tips.
Yeah, exactly, for free, obviously. It's still quite rare that we do branded stuff. So whenever I do it, I'm always like a complete sucker for any freebies.
Yeah.
I wonder
Especially
if
it's
that
beer.
novelty will run out.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't that bothered about the food, but as soon as there's a tab open and there's beer, I'm gonna rinse this. Yeah. Why not?
And then we drank so many of those pints that we wrote Big Bunda No Friends.
Big Bunda No Friends in the taxi on the way back.
That, yeah.
My God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was particularly drunk.
You were so lit.
Because we had some. I also brought like a hip flask with whiskey in it.
Yeah.
For like, just because I thought if we were going to be hanging around after, we'd do some after, just a little tipple.
You must have looked like an alcoholic to him.
Why? Because of the beers?
Well, it's more like no one else who was filming the content would have asked for a beer to be carried around.
That was an accident.
Yeah, but you didn't.
That was a missing note because we were doing it, and I was like, and I went, would I be able to just like have a beer for this game?
You basically,
because he was too accommodating. He should have said, well, maybe not because it can't be in the shot. If they'd have said it can't be in the shot, meaning we'd have to carry it around for you, I would have said that's fine. I don't need one.
Yes. But what ended up happening is because they didn't want beer at all in the shots
which
for the
is
content,
fair.
which is completely fair enough.
Absolutely fair.
But Andrew still wanted a beer at fucking 2 p.m.
I would have liked one. Yeah. I didn't need
at
one.
2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And so one of the PR people's basic job was to sort of carry the beer and between shots Andrew would drink. As if it was his lifeblood. As if he needed it medicinally.
Embarrassing, because she kept coming up to me and going, I wouldn't run up to her and say, can I have a sip of that beer? She'd kind of tap me on the shoulder, did you want a bit of that?
Well, she wants to feel like she's doing something of value. She doesn't want to feel like she's just a
well,
cup holder.
We could have just left it on the floor by the entrance, is what I was partially saying. But
didn't say it out loud.
Well, I didn't want to be a diva and say, I know that would.
You don't want to be a diva. I wanted her to.
I didn't know they'd carry it around
after me and drink the pint.
I didn't know they'd be carrying it round off camera, offering it to me between takes.
I kept trying to finish the beer. And you stopped me. Do you remember? I was trying to finish the beer because I was getting embarrassed about how.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I can sip on it. And I gave it back to her with about a tiny bit left.
I didn't realise what you were doing there, which is very unlike me because usually you're the one.
It was a weird blind spot, really.
You're the one who's usually a few paces off the social kind of the social pace. But yeah, and then when I did that, I went, well, I was like, you don't need to finish it. There's quite a lot.
And it's like, I can't have her carrying this much beer.
And then as I was doing the next shot, I went, oh, that's what he was doing. So I afterwards went, I'll just get that out off your hands. I forgot that. We did look. I always manage to look mental in some ways.
Yeah. Whiskey in the taxi on the way there, whiskey on the way back.
No, not on the way there.
Yes, you do.
No, don't put that in. We can't be drunk on the job. Cut that out.
You were drinking on the job, Andrew.
I suppose so.
We're not going to lose.
Also, you also had some on the way there.
I know.
We had the same amount of whiskey on the way there. We actually had the same amount of alcohol.
I don't think it's drunk on the job when you were drinking on the job. I don't think you're like,
yeah, but this is not
we don't want anyone to think we were drunk on the job, apart from us drinking on the job.
I don't think we should include the whiskey on the way there. I don't think we should.
It's in.
It's not. Take it out.
It's in.
He listens to the podcast.
Yeah, and he's going to love it. It was a swig of whiskey.
Yeah, it was a swig of whiskey.
It's absolutely
fine. And you had it as well. So
I had it as well.
Don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I just come prepared. Yeah. With hay fever stuff and a hip flask of whiskey.
I don't know, yeah, but we probably should read the contracts.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, if we're allowed to drink on the job, we're allowed to drink before the job. Right? Isn't that the rules?
Yeah, I suppose so. And we didn't get drunk. We only got drunk on the driving range afterwards. We went, is all filming done? And then we went, we'll have 4 beers, please. We're getting lit. Because why not? I mean, it was a sunny afternoon.
It was great.
Sunny afternoon at Topgolf.
Yeah.
But no, I think what's happened as well is I've kind of reverted back to old Andrew a little bit since I've quit smoking.
Ancient Andrew.
The relics of heroin. Since I've quit vaping, because I've had a couple of silly weekends.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of big booze sessions. I've had and when I drink, I'm now drinking.
Yeah.
Whereas I've actually been able to exercise a fair amount of self-restraint recently. But there's something about, I feel like I put so much willpower and good work into quitting vaping that I'm allowed to just get fucked in every other way. Yeah, so it's now
giving you like, well, I'm doing good
I'm
overall.
Doing that. Yeah. Why can I not get bamboozle fucked? Because it's been bamboozle fucked.
Well, you got bamboozle fucked last night.
I was bamboozle fucked last night. I very rarely don't recall things.
Yeah.
There was quite a lot I couldn't recall.
And I was drinking quite a lot, but for some reason, I guess because I actually ate a lot, but I wasn't that fucked.
So, I mean, you didn't have any whiskey. I finished the whiskey
that was probably
in the taxi on the way back. That's why it was. I had that entire thing.
I very rarely drink with you midweek. normally I'm gigging. We don't normally do it. So it was interesting to have the midweek. Oh, it's good. This is quite rare that's happening. And then it was Andrew screaming about Fred again. Doesn't remember any of it.
Can't remember.
And then at one point, I think you wanted to go because you were drunk.
Yeah.
And then Elle said, well, let's finish our drinks. And then you got 3/4 of your Guinness in your big, giant, stupid bottle, poured it in. It still had a bit of water in there and had watered down Guinness. And then you drank it, said it's fine. I tasted it. It tastes like plastic and watered down Guinness.
Plastic?
Because it just had a plasticky taste to it.
Right, just
Guinness
in general. Funny, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
So,
but then
we can leave. I'm throwing a tantrum because I want to leave. And she says, we can't leave until we finish these drinks. And I pour it in my water bottle.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, I guess none of us were at the stage where we... It was just because it's like, you know, it's like a band of players and everyone's playing one...
was going... and
we're like...
And it was like... Yeah, it was very much like that. Well, because I woke up...
And then...
Because I woke very quickly on that, because I woke up in the morning and I went, why does this taste like Guinness? And Elle just looked at me like, you fucking kidding me? And I was like, oh, was that something I did?
Yeah, and then you took my Guinness.
Yeah, too fucking
started
right, mate.
drinking it, and then every time I started grabbing out, you look at me and go, it's my Guinness.
Yeah.
I protested about you pouring...
Probably fucking was, mate. Knowing you're a fucking pint thief. You're a hound.
Yeah, but and then we had I don't know what your views on Fred again were, but
neither do I.
I think where the anger came from was that I was a little bit like, this is completely against everything you've said about Fred again. But you're somehow screaming at all of us that we're idiots for talking about something that we assumed you'd agree with, but instead you seem to play devil's advocate and go so hard.
Yeah, no, I can't. I remember defending a point of view very passionately. No idea what that point of view was. No, I don't really have. It seems that I have loads of opinions on Fred again. It just seems to come up.
I think it was when Martha and Elle said that Fred again in the Zane Lowe interview, do it tapping the beat pad, gave them the ick, and then you wouldn't have it.
Oh, I wouldn't have that.
You just wouldn't have it. Absolutely.
Was I saying it was attractive though?
No, you were saying how difficult it was to do and how he's the best at it in the world.
He is the best at it in the world.
And how, you know, and them having their personal preference of an ick, you just weren't having it whatsoever.
No, can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that.
Don't remember any of it.
No, genuinely. It rings maybe some bells.
Yeah.
But as I say, and I think that's fine. Yeah. I'm on the third week now of no nicotine. So, mate, I think, but this week's quite heavy. Well, this week's been heavy, hasn't it? Mm. I think it's allowed. You can have a bit of a drunken mess when you're trying to quit one thing.
Sure.
You're allowed to lean on another vice when you're quitting that vice, and then you've got to just kind of wind it in once that vice has been quit.
Yeah.
That's my plan anyway.
No,
but it was an unexpected. I didn't really realise how much I'd be drawn to alcohol without cigarettes, because I thought it might be a trigger. And it is. It definitely is. I wanted to smoke last night, but... Alas, didn't.
Alas, you didn't. You did. Even in that state, you still didn't.
Yeah, even in that state. And that was like, oh, for God's sake, just give me a fucking fag. It was one of those states, but alas.
They've started... They think they might be able to find Maddie McCann. Been news that they're looking for McCann around a reservoir.
Where?
In just north in Portugal.
Right.
I assume they're looking for the remains because the way they talk about her.
Yeah, they never look for an alive person in a reservoir.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would be great
when they get the divers out. They're not looking. They haven't like made a domicile underwater. What do you think when they get the divers out?
But in the article,
you presume they're looking for the body.
They said Madeline McCann, 20
living under reservoir? Question mark. Built aqua, subwater,
living in
home,
ditch by a motorway.
Yeah, but you don't. When you get the divers out, they're not looking for an alive person.
Living in German paedophile's freezer?
Yeah, okay. Question mark. Could case finally be solved? Returned safely home.
God, it would be so lit if they found him. My God. That would just
How would you react? Okay, hold on. You're typing away at your computer. Ding, BBC News. You pick up your phone. Madeline McCann found alive, living underwater in reservoir in Portugal.
How would I react?
Do your face.
What?
Really?
Yeah. How would you react?
Oh,
what the fuck?
That's not her.
Do you ever react? Have you ever reacted to news notifications like facially on your own?
Yes. The best day of my life when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
Oh yeah, that was
good. I woke up to it in the morning.
Yeah.
I went, what? And
out on your own.
Yeah, and then put the video on and just started laughing my head off.
It's better than you think it's going to be.
It is so much better.
Because you think it's going to be like
it must be like
clickbait.
Or that
It's
they
not
didn't
at
really
all
catch it. It would have. I was either, it won't be that much of a slap, or they didn't get it on camera. My God, there is both. It's absolutely both. And I remember that was one of the best wake-ups I've had for a long time. I fucking love that shit. That kind of level of drama. So that was the best news notification I've ever had.
David Bowie dying. I went, oh
I remember Michael Jackson dying.
Where were you?
I was in bed. It was we were young, but I remember Mum was at the stage of life where my mother would wake me up. Long gone are those days.
Yeah.
But she came in and kind of woke me up saying Michael Jackson died. I was like, you can just say breakfast is ready.
Yeah. That's a good way of getting you out of bed. I mean, I had a sleep recorder for briefly when I was at school.
And did you sleep talk that Michael Jackson had died?
Well, no, that's not how I found out. I didn't find out through me going, Michael Jackson is dead. I'm like, oh my God. That's how I found out.
It must be true.
But I was just interested to hear if I slept talk. But it meant that every time I recorded my whole sleep, at the end there'd be a sound file of my mum coming in to wake me up. So I had 50 recordings of
that's quite
my old bedroom door with this old door handle that goes, and then my mum, whose voice was always, because she'd just woken up and she's not good in the mornings either. Just
the Gould household. You don't really want to be in the Gould household before 11 a.m. I think.
Harry. It's time to get up. And it just every time.
Voldemort?
Yeah, she sounded like Harry. Harry Potter is dead.
The boy who lived must now rise.
Every time. I need to get those recordings. Harry.
There's the boy, Harry. Up you get.
So yeah, I fingers crossed they fired Maddie McCann. That German paedophile thing went quiet. Do you remember the German paedophile thing?
The German paedophile choir.
No, not quiet. Went quiet.
You said choir. I thought you meant there's a choir of German paedophiles just singing church songs. Or doing like a cappella covers. The German paedophile choir.
Change your name,
the
lads.
JPC.
Yeah,
And what makes, like you have the pensioners choir or like the ex-arm veterans choir.
Or like working men's clubs.
Working men's club. Just the German paedophiles choir. And they're based in London.
Really?
Yeah, it's just German
is it
paedophiles.
expats?
Well, because they had to, it's weird that they have to define that they're German, you know what I mean? So they can't be in Germany.
Yeah.
They're expats.
Yeah.
They're all quite successful.
Because if they're in Germany, it would just be the paedophiles choir.
Well, they've all got successful careers and have moved to London for various high-level business jobs.
And then they found an expat community in the diaspora.
That suits them because they are also paedophiles, and then they don't put two and two together.
Bum ba dum bum bum bum. Buttercup, buttercup,
buttercup. Ding.
But it's kind of like a barbershop quartet. That the choir is more like, "Come on, ye faithful."
Yeah, which I think is funnier.
They're caroling.
Triumphant.
Come on, ye faithful.
Well, because you can imagine
joyful and triumphant.
And you can imagine them caroling, and then there's the family are really enjoying it.
Your son in?
That was very lovely. And they go, or if you enjoyed, please donate to our cause. And they hand over a leaflet, and it just says the German paedophile. And they're all paedophiles.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And they've all joined it without realizing that this will out them as a paedophile. They just all had a moment of madness where they're like, "Oh, we're all paedophiles. Why don't we start a choir?" And then all their careers go badly.
Well, I like the idea of a family coming to listen to this lovely choir and then, only realising at the end.
In the donations bucket. That's
like,
the only place
lovely.
it says it. Aren't they a sweet group of men, aren't they?
Yeah. But on the topic of paedophiles, I bombed for the first time in a while. It wasn't like a bad bomb, but it was I'd done 2 shows with the Bill Murray on their weekend shows, and the first one went well. And I think I'm always at risk when I do 2 shows in a night. If the first one goes well, some of my worst bombs have been because I just copy and paste my set from the first show. So I'm like, it worked fine, so I'll just do exactly the same.
Yeah.
with the confidence this is definitely going to be fine.
Yeah,
and none of the jeopardy. And I've already proved myself tonight, so I feel like...
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a deader crowd, and they weren't going for the stuff as well as usual. And then I have this bit where I'm going on Good Morning Britain, and I used to say Philip Schofield's on there, but then I obviously had to address it because Philip Schofield had just been sacked that day. And then
He's on this morning, by the way, not
Is
Good
he?
Morning Britain, just FYI. Good Morning Britain is either a different channel, but I think it could be the same.
Is it?
No, yeah, that's the one with it used to be Piers Morgan.
But I
Now
swear
it's
they
Richard.
sat in the same fucking...
No, it's different. I think it might even be the same channel.
The micro penis guys went on Good Morning Britain, right?
No, that was this morning.
Okay, well in the clip I've said that we did of it. I said Good Morning Britain, but
Well, I'm associated with it.
Yeah.
Because I can't be associated with inaccurate records of daytime
you're part
TV.
of the German paedophile choir.
I am.
You've got
We
a name
have
to them.
fucking broadcast standards, at least. We might diddle kids, but we know the difference between morning shows. I think Good Morning Britain is still ITV, but it starts at 6 a.m. Good Morning Britain was the one, it's with Richard Maley now and Susanna.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Whatever
Reed.
it is. Susanna Reid. Yeah. That's Good Morning Britain is for the working professionals who have a quick bite of breakfast before they go off to their high-paying jobs.
Their wife makes them a piece of toast. They have one bite.
No,
of it,
their
and they're
wife's
out the
not
door.
even. The wife's not even up.
Oh, wow.
No, this morning is then for the wife who is.
Oh, I see.
Or
It's
the
white
husband,
wine of daytime shows.
or the husband.
Yeah.
Who then? Who then wakes up later, and then that's this morning is for the stay-at-home whatever, and Good
This
Morning
morning
Britain
you
is
might
for the.
watch with a face mask on.
Yeah, I think it's part of the rules, really. Too.
You've got a shower
always,
cap and
you're always half doing a household chore when you watch This Morning, whereas Good Morning Britain, you're hurriedly getting sustenance.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that carries.
So is This Morning that you're
So
looking
not only
for?
did I get that wrong, I mentioned Philip Schofield, then realised
That's
that.
probably why you bombed.
Probably.
Because they went, Isn't
What the fuck?
doesn't he mean? And then they can't forget it.
And they said, oh, of course, and I said something like R.I.P. Philip Schofield. Though I'm sure I do think he's a nonce. And since then, a lot of people have been calling him a nonce. But then in the room, it felt like it wasn't agreed that he was a nonce.
It's definitely not agreed.
Yeah, so my response, it felt like they hadn't even heard that he might be a nonce.
Yeah. So it was news to them.
Yeah, it was
and you
news
don't
to
want to
them.
find out that Philip Schofield's a
So I
nonce
said
from
Philip
you.
Schofield's a nonce. And I thought they obviously thought, okay, he's being silly, that's like a joke. But then my response to not getting a laugh was to keep repeating Philip Schofield's a nonce. And I sort of started glitching like a vinyl that was stuck.
Yeah.
Basically just kept saying, but he is a nonce. Philip Schofield's a nonce. And they kept saying, just so you know, guys, Philip Schofield genuinely is a nonce. He's got a super injunction out where you shouldn't be allowed to call him a nonce.
You said that, yeah.
But this is a room where none of you guys are going to tell on me. So Philip Schofield's a nonce. Thinking that would get me out. I was waiting for the laugh. It's like trying to find the end of the beginning of a sellotape. And I just couldn't find it. I was like, where the fuck does this end? And then I said, because I started really digging myself a hole, because I was like, Philip Schofield's a nonce. His brother's definitely a nonce. But I feel if both you and your brother are nonces, then you should be forgiven. Like 2 minuses make a plus.
Yeah.
And
So they both
didn't
get forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just didn't
Didn't go for that either.
Yeah.
The old nonce forgiveness pact.
Exactly, and I never really regained their trust at any point after.
We always talk on hills to die on,
Yeah,
and that's a good one.
that's a good one.
It's a great one to die on.
Because I'll probably be.
Well, he
proven
is.
Right.
Have you been?
Well,
have you
they
been
can-
seeing
can they sue me
those?
for this super injunction? Allegedly. Let's just. Can
Can
we
they
drop,
sue
can you just
you?
drop? Well, he's got like a super injunction about people calling him a nonce.
Well, it would be great. That'd be great for our careers if we got sued by Philip Schofield. So
That's
let's
true.
just
So not allegedly.
factually. Well, are
I'm
you
scared.
watching that?
Allegedly.
Are you watching that? These TikTok conspiracy videos. I know this isn't really.
You didn't
a
send
conspiracy.
them to me after because we were talking about them on the Patreon last week, but you said you were going to
The
send
space
me.
ones.
Yeah, you forgot to send them to me.
Ah, fuck. Yeah. No, I would need to send them to you. So then we could. Oh, fuck. We were going to look into space. Well, that was on the Patreon, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you can watch one video of it.
I can.
But I've seen the ones of Philip Schofield, and they are. He definitely porked that young sproutly gentleman.
The use of pork and sproutlet.
Yeah, because he got him. He did special favors for him to go on the show. And then there's that Jack Jones video, who is a fantastic character.
He's
Did you
had a
see
great
that?
journey.
No, but that's the Jack Jones bit.
Yeah. No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, because
So that was
Jack
it's
Jones
primed.
in one of his internet
Lad
pranking
Bible
videos.
yeah.
At the prime of Jack Jones.
Yeah.
In one of them, Philip Schofield is in the video.
Yeah.
And he's having dinner with the kid, just the two of them.
And what does Jack Jones say?
I think he goes,
You're a nonce, Phil.
And Phil goes,
looks
"Hiya,
terrible.
how you doing?"
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And now Jack Jones has had 6 years in the cold, and he's come back looking fat and trans.
Yeah, we've covered him.
Yeah, I know we've covered him.
So do you think maybe he's also a victim of the Scof?
He does look like he's been traumatized by
The Scof.
at the wrath of Philip Schofield. Maybe Philip Schofield, who doesn't look not German.
That's what we've got time for.
It all adds up.
It all adds up.
He's
a
part of
member
the German
Paedophile
paedophile
choir.
Yeah. But yes,
What?
the evidence is that he was grooming this boy who was he was like funding his, was it his choir? It might have been a young boy's choir. He was funding some sort of after school activity. So he'd known this guy since he was 11. But then if if he's legal,
Yeah.
you know, it's obviously not ideal.
He wasn't I think he met him when he was like 13.
But what's the rules on that?
There isn't any.
Okay.
But there's a certain level of
Because his brother's serving 12 years for noncing.
Yeah. Right.
Which, you know.
So I think for if it came out that he had groomed a child, let's say he hadn't engaged in any sexual.
So groom's playing the long game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If you want to make it less gross.
So it's kind of like being friend zoned, but sticking with it. You're grooming her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, grooming is vague, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's
it gets thrown around a lot these days.
It does, and I wouldn't know what grooming is unless I saw it.
You've probably been groomed.
I probably have been groomed.
And it doesn't sound that bad, just because I just think of a horse getting his mane.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, they'll come out with more slick, kind of silky hair. But no, well,
it's very nasty,
is court. What's the difference between courting and grooming? It'll be an imbalance of power, won't it?
Yeah, courting has a chivalrous medieval thing.
But then, I guess
I don't think Philip Schofield was. You can't be courting young.
You can't court a minor. You can't court like a 12-year-old kid. Of course you can't. But it's an imbalance of power, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's when. So courting is grooming, but with a bad thing.
But is the imbalance of power just
no? Grooming
age?
is courting. Well,
so could Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
What about
groom Danny DeVito?
No,
because he's clearly physically so much more powerful than him. That's an imbalance of power.
I think it is just age, isn't it?
It must be age.
Well, what about when a boss kind of sexually
I'm my own boss.
You can't groom yourself. That's fine. Well, we do every day, actually. No, but you like a boss and an employee. Could that be grooming?
I think that could be grooming.
That could be grooming.
So,
what is it? Is it just like preparing one for sexual relations?
Yeah, he's playing the long game.
Grooming's a bit of a gross word to use in a way.
What would you call it?
I don't know.
I'd say it's successfully getting out the friend zone.
Right.
That's what I describe as Philip Schofield.
Yeah, I think that's what I took from the news as well. Good for him.
Another brother out the friend zone.
It is it reminds me of the astonishing power and stranglehold that morning TV seems to have over this country.
Really does.
And I've been the victim of that.
You have. You've been sucked into.
I've been sucked in. It's so annoying this didn't happen when I was watching this morning because I'd be right.
Because you've actually managed to pull yourself away from it.
Yeah, and I can't go back in.
You can't go back in.
Otherwise, I'll be in there forever.
But you were really.
But I could have been on the pulse.
Streak.
I could have been on the pulse and known, I could have been our daytime TV.
Were you a fan of Schofield? Because I know you can't stand.
He's not bad. He's not bad at his job. I'll tell you that.
He's a broadcaster.
He's a slick motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, even better for grooming then.
Well, maybe you've been groomed by him.
Maybe the nation's been groomed by
Scof.
I hate when people call him Scof as well.
I hate when he molests children.
No, I hate Scof way more than that. If I could choose which one to get rid of, it would be Scof.
He's having a bad week though, isn't he? So I feel bad for him. All is forgiven.
Yeah, well, but you were saying about the legality of it. Yeah, there's no proof that he's had sex with him, right?
Yeah.
But it's bearing in mind the ITV don't want to put out someone who's probably groomed a child.
Yeah, It's not a good
You
look.
don't just get fired from, like, it doesn't just have to be illegal to get fired from ITV, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
You can be frowned upon.
yeah, I think you can have a frown upon firing.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, this is the thing. Well, it was interesting.
I nearly got fired from my job from something that's frowned upon.
What'd you do? Oh, yeah, of course.
Sent cunt to a police officer.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
I think it's quite
Maybe it is illegal.
No, I feel...
No, because if
do you know what? I think it's probably like being able to call an officer of the state a cunt probably comes along with a huge jump for free civil liberties.
Verbal abuse.
So that probably was an Enlightenment...
Yeah.
It's probably an Enlightenment idea.
Yeah.
Because I think from probably pre-17, 1800s, you probably are not allowed to call a police officer a cunt.
Yeah.
But post then, I think it's more like
It sounds
we
quite
need to live in a
founding
fair...
fathers.
Yeah, that's like we're building a new state. We should be allowed to call police officers cunts.
Well, I just want to point out, I also didn't say, I think if it would be clear that it would, well, I think it would be clearly verbal abuse if I said you cunt. But there was no you, it was just the word cunt. It's almost like pointing at a cunt that's over there. It's almost like, oh, look, a cunt.
You offered it up to her.
Cunt? And there wasn't a question.
It wasn't a
mark.
question. It was cunt.
It was just a declarative statement.
It was almost like reading at a museum when you read the little plaque next to
Oh,
it.
cunt.
Cunt.
Cunt. What do you think about that?
Well, the question mark would it? She doesn't
Cunt.
need to respond to that.
Yeah.
It's a statement.
Especially because if she'd
It's
have said
not asking for a response.
if she'd have said something again, not great that it's if she'd have said something. But if she'd have said something before and then I went cunt, that would have been fair. But I've just gone up to her, tapped her on the shoulder, and just gone cunt. It's not. There is an argument in a court of law that isn't calling someone a cunt.
Yeah, that's completely...
I'd like to do the disciplinary hearing again, given the new information.
Yeah.
Right, that's all we got time for, really, because we're on a
Of
budget
course,
today.
We are on a budget. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I've got shows this weekend and next weekend at Rosemary Branch Theatre at 7 p.m. So this Saturday and next Saturday. Come along. It'd be great to see you there. We've been Boys Gone Wild. Thank you very much.
Keep it trill on the ding ting.